Happy Sunday! Today is April 26, 2026. Welcome back to Life Skills for Children. Today I'm talking about fear. I think that it's really good to teach your child or children that there are two types of fear. There is fear that comes straight from our intuition, straight from our stomach, right in your stomach, where you feel an intensity of fear when you're in a situation that is truly dangerous. For instance, let's say you have a teenager, just an example, and the teenager has been asked to get in a car where the driver has been drinking and or doing drugs. And the teenager is feeling peer pressure to get in that vehicle. But deep inside the teenager's stomach, he or she can feel that this is a dangerous situation. And that is something to pay attention to. I've had this happen, in my life when I was a teenager. It happened to my children. It happens often. Peer pressure when you're a teenager is brutal. If you're going back, to a younger child, perhaps the younger child has a friend that's trying to convince your child to do something that is dangerous. Funny story, when I was a child, I had an older sister, and she was put in charge of taking care of me for a couple hours. I guess my mom had to do some errands. She was 5 years older than me, and she had her girlfriend over. And in the cupboard, she had found X-Lax chocolate bar. And I walked into the kitchen, and they turned around, smiled at each other, and said, "Here you go, have some chocolate." I'm 5 years younger, and I'm looking at it, and I'm like, I don't think I don't think I want that. And they were really push, and they were laughing and carrying on. My sister didn't really like me. And anyway, I felt the fear. I felt the danger. And I absolutely refused. And they finally gave up. And I listened to that fear. Did I know what I was listening to at the time? No. But something inside of me kept saying, no, no, no. And my mom came home, and I want, not so much as being a tattletale. I wanted to know, because obviously I want to eat that chocolate if it's good. So I said to my mom, "Is this, chocolate?" And she says, "Well, it's chocolate, but it's medicine. Why do you ask?" And I told her, well, my sister was in big time trouble. So that's a good example where a younger child can actually feel fear, and they must listen to it. It would be a very good idea to listen to it, because it's there. It's real fear. It's a warning of danger. The other type of fear is often called fantasized experiences appearing real. So it might be your child is in a social situation. Maybe it's a boy. And they're at a school dance, maybe a grade 7, grade 8 school dance, and he wants to go ask a girl to dance. Maybe he's got a crush on that girl. And he's feeling nervous. He's feeling fearful. And that is an example of unhealthy fear. Because if he decides to just face his fear and do it, because there's no danger in that except the girl might turn him down. So it's not a safety issue. The girl might turn him down. That's what he's afraid of if he's feeling that way. So that's a fantasized fear. And that type of fear, the fear that holds us back for something that could be good for us, is the kind of fear that we have to learn to face. It's called face your fear. No, it's called feel your fear and do it anyway. So that's called facing your fear. Feel it and do it anyway. So, two types of fear. Real fear, which is your body or your mind or your guardian angels or your spirit guides warning you it's dangerous. Pay attention to that. The other one is fear that pops up, causing anxiety, and we really need to learn to push forward into that type of fear. Feel the fear and decide to do it anyway, because once you do it, you gain courage. Courage. You can't get the courage first to face your fear. You first have to face that obstacle, then you get the courage. And after you do this repetitively, over and over and over again for that type of fear, you become a courageous individual. Does that make sense? Like, picture a teenager going to his or her first job interview. Of course, they're going to be feeling fear. But is this something that they have to do to get through life? Absolutely, it is. So you can explain the two types of fear. Have a wonderful evening, everybody. Namaste.